All was well, another day saved, when his cape snagged on a missile pin.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most shocking and interesting bits of foreshadowing in Disney films.
Love is an open door.
Number 20, An Old Witch, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Look at Disney hitting us with foreshadowing bangers right out of the gate. Serving as the first film in the canon, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs offers up a great bit of foreshadowing at the hands, or rather the mouth, of Grumpy. Snow White pleads with the dwarfs not to send her away, claiming that the queen will kill her. In response, Grumpy calls the latter an old witch.
If you do, she'll kill me.
Kill you? Who will? Yes, who?
My stepmother, the queen.
The queen! She's wicked. She's bad. She's Bonnie Bean. She's an old witch.
For first-time viewers, this may have seemed like an offhanded remark about the queen's temperament, but as everyone knows by now, the queen does indeed turn into an old witch after poisoning the apple.
To mix it well. Now, begin thy magic spell.
He may be grumpy, but he's also very smart. Number 19, A Mother's Love, Ratatouille. A brilliant movie about art and passion, Ratatouille follows Alfredo Linguini, a garbage boy turned chef who learns the ropes in an esteemed French restaurant. Linguini is taught by Colette Tatou, who serves as the restaurant's roast chef, or rôtisseur. Colette displays an abrasive attitude and tells Linguini that he can't cook like mommy in the kitchen, meaning he has to adopt the timing and exactitude of a professional chef.
What are you doing?
I'm cutting vegetables. I'm cutting the vegetables.
No, you waste energy and time. You think cooking is a cute job, eh? Like mommy in the kitchen?
This brief remark makes an emotional comeback in the film's climax, when Remy makes Anton Ego the titular ratatouille dish. The usually harsh critic is won over by the food, as it reminds him of his mother's home cooking. In other words, Remy saved the restaurant by cooking like mommy in the kitchen.
Nothing less than the finest chef in France. I will be returning to Gusto soon, hungry for more.
Number 18, Burning Esmeralda, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Based roughly on Victor Hugo's novel, The Hunchback of Notre Dame is, shall we say, one of the darker Disney films. Its story is rooted in themes of tyranny and prejudice, not to mention Judge Claude Frollo is a wicked old man who does some truly messed up things, like burning Esmeralda at the stake, for instance. This attempt at murder is foreshadowed on not one but two separate occasions. The lyrics of Hellfire contain a very explicit reference as Frollo sings,
Be mine or you will burn.
Well, it certainly wasn't an empty threat. Later, Frollo chides Quasimodo for helping Esmeralda escape and burns the sculpture he made of her. It's a lot of fiery imagery, and it all pays off in horrifying fashion.
Never you mind, Quasimodo. She'll be out of our lives soon enough. I will free you from her evil spell. She will torment you no longer.
Number 17, Dash's Wisdom, The Incredibles. Despite coming off as more of a jock, Dash is one smart cookie. He displays a strong sense of philosophical wit when he's in the car with his mom. When Helen tells him, everyone is special, he has this to say.
Which is another way of saying no one is.
This statement is not only wise beyond his years, but it nicely sets up the motive for the movie's antagonist syndrome. He hopes to sell advanced weapons on the market, thereby turning everyone into a superhero.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
It's a sentiment that closely mirrors Dash's words, and it's a great way of connecting the heroes with the villain as well as humanizing him to an extent. Number 16, Bruno Encanto. When you've got a family full of people with magical powers, it's difficult to keep secrets. While Bruno is said to have disappeared from the family, Dolores foreshadows his nearby presence on more than one occasion. While singing We Don't Talk About Bruno, she mentions that she
Grew to live in fear, Bruno stuttering or stumbling. I can always hear him sort of muttering and mumbling. I associate him with the sound of falling sand.
She also tells Mirabel that the only ones worried about the magic are her and the rats talking in the walls.
The only one worried about the magic is you. And the rats talking in the walls.
These probably aren't the rats, but Bruno, who we later learn is living in the walls of the house among the rats. Number 15, Playing Dead, Zootopia. Talk about foreshadowing. The very beginning of Zootopia sets up the ending, and these bookends provide a beautiful and well-realized structure to the film. The movie opens via flashback, with young Judy performing in her school play. Her character is attacked by a tiger and dies in a rather dramatic fashion.
And death.
While a funny scene in and of itself, it also foreshadows the climax of the film. Nick pretends to go savage and attacks Judy in front of Bellwether. Her acting has clearly improved since she was a child. Well, until it's time to give up the ruse at least.
Blood, blood, blood. And death.
All right, you know what, you're milking it. Besides, I think we got it.
Number 14. Hector's Guitar, Coco. Disney and Pixar are so good at foreshadowing that they even include examples in minute visual details. Miguel steals the guitar of famed musician Ernesto de la Cruz.
Our family thinks music is a curse. None of them understand, but I know you would have. You would have told me to follow my heart, to seize my moment.
This guitar is beautifully designed, and the headstock resembles that of a stylized skull. Completing this skull are a set of teeth, one of which is gold. Viewers may notice that Ernesto does not have a gold tooth, but you know who does? Miguel's great-great-grandfather Hector, whom Miguel meets in the land of the dead. We later learn that Ernesto killed Hector and stole his guitar and his songs, meaning that the gold-toothed headstock perfectly matches that of its true owner.
That's my mama Coco. That's my mama Imelda. Is that you?
Number 13. Prince Navin's Transformation, The Princess and the Frog. Disney is weirdly unapologetic about turning characters into animals. In this case, it's poor Prince Naveen, who's turned into the titular frog. This transformation is repeatedly foreshadowed in the gleefully ominous Friends on the Other Side sequence.
I got voodoo, I got hoodoo, I got things I ain't even tried. And I got friends on the other side.
He's got friends on the other side.
For one, on the back of Facilier's tarot deck, there's a frog motif in the corners. For another, Prince Naveen's future card shows a prince lying on a pile of money, in the shape of a lily pad. Facilier also references the transformation in his lyrics, telling Naveen, "You just want to be free, hop from place to place, but freedom takes green." And,
It's the green, it's the green, it's the green you need. And when I looked into your future, it's the green that I see.
the green is understood to reference money, but the double entendre is clear after you know what happens. Number 12. Gaston's Cheap Shots, Beauty and the Beast. Gaston certainly has an ego, but seriously, who boasts about taking cheap shots? In the song Gaston Reprise, Gaston and LeFou plot the imprisonment of Belle's father, Maurice. This reprise carries a much bleaker tone than the original song. While that one was full of harmless boasts, this one is far darker, with lyrics like,
No one plots like Gaston, takes cheap shots like Gaston,
plans to persecute harmless crackpots like Gaston.
The former is particularly important, as it foreshadows the climactic battle between Gaston and the Beast. Gaston takes the cheapest of cheap shots, stabbing the Beast in the side while his back is turned.
You came back.
That arrow to the back in the castle was also pretty cheap. 2 for 2, Gaston. Number 11. Marlin Meets a Turtle, Finding Nemo. Pixar has released some bangers throughout the years, but Finding Nemo is on another level. It's a tight and brilliantly executed script that contains some great bits of foreshadowing. On the first day of school, Nemo asks his dad if he's ever met a shark. His reply is no, and that he doesn't plan on it.
Dad, maybe while I'm at school, I'll see a shark.
I highly doubt that.
Have you ever met a shark?
No, and I don't plan to.
Well, that doesn't exactly last for long, does it?
Do my time. I have to find my son.
Hello?
Nemo's follow-up question is about how old sea turtles are. Marlin sarcastically answers that he'll ask one. Wouldn't you know it, he later meets a sea turtle named Crush, and after hitching a ride, asks him his age.
Oh, Nemo would have loved this. Hey, Crush! Crush, I forgot! How old are you?
150, dude! And still young!
It's too bad Nemo didn't also ask him about winning the deep-sea lottery that morning. Number 10. Banishment and the Abominable Snowman, Monsters, Inc.
It's too late! We're banished, genius! We're in the human world!
Monsters, Inc. is full of, well, monsters, and the legendary Abominable Snowman is one of them. But before he tries to charm the protagonists with his yellow snow cones, he's actually mentioned by Mike.
Just think about a few names, will you? Loch Ness, Bigfoot, the Abominable Snowman. They all got one thing in common, pal. Banishment!
While Mike and Sully are sneaking Boo into the factory, Mike lists off some banished monsters, including the Snowman, and declares that they could be next. Later in the movie, Mike and Sully are indeed banished by Waternoose, and the two meet up with none other than the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah, take my buddy Bigfoot. When he was banished, he fashioned an enormous diaper out of poison ivy. Wore it on his head like a tiara. Called himself King Itchy.
It's not only a cute little instance of foreshadowing, but a clue that the Snowman may have once been an employee at Monsters, Inc.
I'll have you know tampering with the mail is a crime punishable by banishment.
Yes, sir.
We're right on it, Mr. Snowman.
Number 9. You're a Beast, Brave.
You're never there for me. This whole marriage is what you want. Do you ever bother to ask what I want?
There are actually 2 scenes that foreshadow the exact same plot point. In the opening scene, Meredith's mother Eleanor chases the young Merida and declares that she's going to eat her like some kind of dangerous creature.
I'm going to gobble her up when I find her. Eat you!
Later in the movie, when Merida's all grown up, she calls Eleanor a beast during a heated argument.
You're acting like a child.
And you're a beast! That's what you are!
She had no idea how right she was about to be. Following the argument, Merida is given a spell by a witch and in turn gives it to Eleanor, turning her into a bear.
Mom?
And while she originally retains some semblance of humanity, she slowly transitions into a violent beast throughout the movie.
No, Dad! Don't hurt her!
Number 8. Ernestos Talent, Coco.
I hoped you would.
My boy, with a talent like yours? How could I not listen?
If we would have listened to Hector from the beginning, we would have found out exactly who Ernesto de la Cruz is. At one point in the Land of the Dead, Hector tells Miguel that he taught Ernesto everything he knows.
You told me you hated musicians. You never said you were one.
How do you think I knew your great-great-grandpa? We used to play music together. Taught him everything he knows.
Later, he states that while Ernesto's songs are pretty good, Ernesto himself is of little talent.
The greatest musician of all time?
Ah, you're funny. Greatest eyebrows of all time, maybe, but his music? Not so much.
You don't know what you're talking about.
This may seem like the ramblings of a jealous bandmate until Miguel learns the truth.
Hector, please.
Those were my songs you took. My songs that made you famous.
What?
Hector is actually the genius behind the songs, and Ernesto murdered him and passed the songs off as his own. Turns out that Hector truly did teach Ernesto everything he knows, except for, presumably, cold, hard murder.
Remember me. Though I have to say goodbye, remember me.
Number 7. The Smoke Wolves, Pocahontas.
Prowl the earth like ravenous wolves, consuming everything in their path.
Even Disney's magnificent visual imagery contains deeper meanings. Near the beginning of Pocahontas, Kikata warns the village about the coming settlers.
These are not men like us, but strange beasts with bodies that shine like the sun.
During his speech, he waves his staff over the fire and creates some smoke wolves who in turn surround Kocoum. They then rush towards the Powhatan chief before dissipating. Using the wolves as a metaphor for the settlers, the scene foreshadows the fate of 2 of its characters. By enveloping Kocoum, the scene signifies his eventual death at the hands of Thomas. By nearly attacking the Powhatan chief but dissipating before the consumption, the scene foreshadows his near death at the hands of Ratcliffe.
John!
Number 6. The Sun Will Set on My Time Here, The Lion King.
So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
During the scene in which Mufasa and Simba gaze out over the wonderful landscape, Mufasa tells Simba that the sun will eventually set on his reign and will rise with Simba's.
A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun.
One day, Simba, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
This initially seems like beautiful, symbolic language, and it certainly is. But there's also a little more going on here. Simba finds Mufasa's body near sundown, signifying the setting of his reign.
We gotta go home.
At the end of the movie, Simba takes his mantle on Pride Rock at sunrise, and we then see the scene transition from night to day. The sun has officially risen on Simba's reign, just as Mufasa predicted. Number 5. King Candy's True Nature, WreckIt Ralph.
I forbid you to cross that finish line!
Near the end of WreckIt Ralph, Vanellope's glitching reveals that King Candy is actually Turbo, a rogue character who abandoned his arcade game.
What the? Who are you? I'm Turbo, the greatest racer ever!
However, the true nature of King Candy was foreshadowed many times throughout the movie. Near the beginning, an avatar of Vanellope can be seen on the side of Sugar Rush riding the king's cart, signifying her true role as the main character. His age also signifies that he doesn't belong in the game, as he's much older than the other racers.
And thank you to today's avatars. It was a wonderful day of racing.
Finally, Ralph comments on Candy's unmanly pink palace, once again showcasing that it doesn't actually belong to Candy, but to Princess Vanellope.
So you're a fan of pink?
Salmon. Salmon, that's obviously salmon. What are you doing here?
Number 4. Doug's phone number, Zootopia.
So fluffy. Hey, sheep never let me get this close.
You can't just touch a sheep's wool.
It's like cotton candy.
Zootopia is absolutely littered with foreshadowing, but perhaps the best and most subtle instance of all is Doug's well-hidden phone number.
Well, this is so exciting, actually. I mean, well, I never get to do anything this important.
While Judy and Nick are using Assistant Mayor Bellwether to locate Manchus, you can briefly see a post-it note on her desk with the name Doug and a phone number written on it. Doug, if you don't remember the name, is the chemist and sniper Bellwether employs to turn the predators of Zootopia savage.
Yeah, it looks like old Doug's cornered the market on night howlers.
Later, when Judy and Nick are in his lab, we even see him take a call from Bellwether informing him of his next target.
What's the mark? Cheetah and Sahara Square. Got it. Serious? Yeah, I know they're fast. I can hit them.
Clearly, she had that post-it handy.
Run. Get them.
Number 3. Edna doesn't do capes. The Incredibles.
I see. This is a hobo suit, darling. You can't be seen in this. I won't allow it.
While Edna is creating Mr. Incredible's new suit, she tells him that she doesn't make capes, and lists various superheroes who were thwarted by theirs.
Oh, the cape and the boots.
No capes.
Isn't that my decision?
Do you remember Thunderhead?
Thunderhead's cape was caught on a missile, while others were sucked into a vortex or caught on an elevator. But perhaps the scariest story she tells is of a superhero who was sucked into a jet turbine.
Stratogale, April 23rd, 57. Cape caught in a jet turbine.
You can't generalize.
In the climax of the movie, Syndrome's cape is caught in such a turbine, and he's subsequently sucked in and shredded. Turns out that Edna was right not to give Mr. Incredible a cape.
No capes!
Number 2. The Landfill, Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3.
I don't think that's daylight.
The furnace scene in Toy Story 3 is undoubtedly one of the most dramatic scenes of any animated movie. If only we had some sort of warning so we could brace ourselves. Oh wait, there was. In Toy Story 2, Stinky Pete tells the toys that they will eventually be forgotten and rot in a landfill.
Idiots! Children destroy toys! You'll all be ruined! Forgotten! Spending eternity rotting in some landfill!
In Toy Story 3, the toys are indeed forgotten by Andy and taken to a daycare, where they in turn make their way to a landfill and are almost turned into burnt debris. We can't say that the writers intended the story to go in this direction all along, but that is still one fine piece of continuity. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Love is an Open Door. Frozen.
Okay, can I just say something crazy?
I love crazy.
Love is an Open Door is chock full of foreshadowing. When Han sings,
I've been searching my whole life to find my own place.
he signals towards the kingdom, a subtle nod to his true intentions. There's also the line, "You and I were just meant to be," wherein Anna is made into the pronoun on both occasions, signifying her unrequited love. There's also the line,
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye to the pain of the past.
which applies to both Anna and Hans. Finally, there's the ending where Anna makes the base of the heart and Hans follows, almost as if he's one step behind and trying to keep up with the lovey-dovey charade.
You won't get away with this.
I already have.
Did you catch any of these foreshadowing moments on the first watch? Let us know in the comments.
That was totally wicked!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.